Hey everybody, welcome to Play, Rank, Share, the show where I play the marquee PlayStation 5 titles, create an ever-evolving ranking of the best PlayStation 5 games, and share my opinions with you. My name is Tyres, and this episode is focused on Deathloop. In a way, I can't believe Deathloop is finally released. Initially slated as a PlayStation 5 launch title, this time loop adventure has been delayed almost a year and was shown at every PlayStation conference in the meantime. Deathloop is developed by Arkane Studios, a subsidiary of Bethesda Publishing, who are now owned by Sony rival Microsoft. This is my first time playing an Arkane game, but they rose to prominence in the previous console generation with their Dishonored games, which blended action and stealth gameplay mechanics to fine-tune the play experience to the desire of the player. Deathloop picks up on this blending of genre gameplay, which gives the player a multitude of different ways to accomplish the various objectives around the island of Black Reef. In Deathloop, you play as Colt Vaughn, who mysteriously wakes up on a beach on a faraway island. He quickly learns that every time he dies, he wakes up back on the beach in the same spot in a new morning, and he has no idea how he got there. As he seeks to destroy the time loop that he appears to be stuck in, Colt quickly discovers that to break the loop, he needs to kill 8 leaders, called visionaries in the game, that are scattered around the island. However, Colt only has so much time in a day to uncover the secrets of the island. There are 4 phases of the day, where Colt can pick one of the 4 maps on Black Reef to explore. This makes time of the essence in Deathloop. You only have 4 chances to kill all the visionaries and spend the game unpacking the mystery that will allow you to complete that objective. Deathloop also contains roguelike elements in the lightest sense of the word. Collecting a material called Residuum lets you bind weapons and abilities to Colt, allowing the player to keep their favorite perks throughout each day of the loop. Residuum is never in short supply, effectively stripping the more difficult aspects of a roguelike game out of Deathloop. Instead, you are focused on accomplishing whatever missions are necessary for that day, and collecting Residuum to bind your favorite weapons are more like an afterthought. I never reached the end of the day in the loop and found myself unable to keep my favorite weapon or ability, but I did appreciate this mechanic as I didn't have to worry about losing anything on my journey that I found to be valuable. The mixture of pace-of-play elements in Deathloop makes a unique and worthwhile experience that isn't achieved in any other game on the PlayStation 5. I frequently would try to sneak around an area, going unseen and keeping myself out of precarious gunfights where you can quickly be outnumbered. However, I'm not the most tactful player, and these plans can quickly go awry as literally everyone on the map is trying to kill you. I appreciate that both types of gameplay feel good, and the game doesn't appear to push you in one way or the other. I repeatedly snuck around the 4 maps with my trusty nail gun, going unseen for as long as possible. However, once I inevitably made a mistake, I had my shotgun at the ready to blast my way out of a predicament. The fun, fast-paced action gameplay makes me enjoy Deathloop more than the earlier released Hitman 3. Deathloop allows players who aren't good at stealth gameplay to still have a lot of fun, and players don't even have to go the stealth route if they don't find enjoyment from that. I also really enjoyed the asynchronous multiplayer aspect that was worked into the game. Another player can take control of Juliana, one of the 8 visionaries whose main task is to kill Colt. Players can drop into the game as Juliana, and it adds a sense of heightened tension when traveling the map as Colt. While the AI in Deathloop isn't the smartest, having a human player hiding somewhere in the map kept me on my toes. Some online players were savvy, and I walked into traps several times. While this isn't always the case, I felt like I had to be more careful and aware of my surroundings when a player was invading my game. I tried my hand at playing as Juliana, and it wasn't for me, but players who are good at being the invading assassin makes the game even more fun for those playing as Colt. Colt's dialogue with the aforementioned assassin was a component of the game I really enjoyed. Regardless of your progress through the story, as you unfold the mysteries of the island, you get to see Colt and Juliana's relationship evolve through audio clips at the start of every run. Additionally, the overall aesthetic of the game is a delight. The retro party vibe, accompanied by the cel-shaded art direction, gives the game a distinct look that stands out from other recently released games. However, while the art direction shines, the overall world itself felt a little empty to me. There weren't as many side stories and secrets hidden around the world as I was hoping for. This was a world I wanted to get lost in, but there personally wasn't enough side content for me to feel fully immersed. Where Deathloop shines the most is in the main storyline of hunting the 8 different visionaries. With 8 targets to track, you get to do this at your own pace, and you can pick your own targets. If a particular visionary is of interest to you, you can track their story and figure out how to kill them for your eventual perfect run. The game leaves things open-ended so you can go through the story at any way that feels best to you. I feel like I was cracking the mystery along with Colt. The game provides helpful infographics reminding you of the key story points, leading you on your way to your objectives, but you get to pick how you tackle these objectives and in which order you want to do them. In the earlier stages of the game, it is a little more linear and hand-holdy with these features, but eventually the game opens up a couple hours in and they have a tracking tool that is helpful to keep your head on straight with all the story details. An issue that I had while playing is that it can seem like you're not making much progress in the story, instead just spinning your wheels towards an eventual end. Moments in the middle grew tedious for me. I kept revisiting maps repeatedly, only to accomplish something minor on the far end of the map and then having to return across the map to my base. The game filled me with intrigue and the ending had me enthralled, and beginning to discover how to break the loop was such a satisfying experience, and the game cultivates in a worthwhile ending. But these middle sections felt bland in comparison to the stronger parts of the story. In the end, the monotony was worth the thrilling ending as you progress through that perfect day taking out all the visionaries. Deathloop gives you 4 maps that act as your sandbox as you work to end the never-ending party that residents find themselves in. It blends action and stealth gameplay together to allow players the freedom to traverse the world in whatever manner best suits their playstyle. While the beginning and end of Deathloop's story are linear, the player has the freedom to tackle objectives in the middle in whatever order you want. Player choice and freedom are at the forefront of Deathloop's experience. It took me 15 hours to beat Deathloop, and it's a game that I think will stay on my mind long after I've last played it, similar to Returnal released earlier this year. Deathloop is on my very short list for Game of the Year so far in 2021. It's an amazing game, and I give it a score of 9 out of 10. Deathloop can be a game that is initially hard to sink your teeth into. If I have friends who are looking for game recommendations for their PS5, I don't know if I would immediately suggest Deathloop and instead point toward games that are more easier to slide into, like Spider-Man Miles Morales or Ratchet Clank Rift Apart. However, I think anyone with interest in a AAA, out-of-the-box experience should play Deathloop. While my best PS5 games rankings are a little behind right now, on the current list so far I rank Deathloop as the second best PlayStation 5 game. Thank you for watching this episode of Play, Rank, Share. Make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when future episodes are released. Many future episodes of Play, Rank, Share are in the pipeline, and I have a backlog of reviews to be written. This includes Returnal, Ratchet Clank Rift Apart, and Kenna Bridge of Spirits, so stay tuned. What are your thoughts on Deathloop? Let me know in the comments below, and until next time, don't stop sharing.